It's that time of the year again. Time to talk about one of Shakespeare's famous love stories. You heard me right. I'm talking about A Midsummer Night's Dream! A Midsummer Night's Dream is one of Shakespeare's comedies. Now, I told y'all enough about how Shakespeare's comedies are structured in the Twelfth Night Review. If you'd like a refresher on that, go ahead and watch that. This is also one of Shakespeare's shorter plays. Don't let the fact that there are 5 acts scare you. Now, I'm 99% sure that most of you in the audience have heard this song before. That piece was written by composer Felix Mendelssohn, who composed music for A Midsummer Night's Dream in German for a production of the play in 1843. The wedding march you just heard is actually part of the incidental. I'd recommend listening to the whole thing if you could. It's actually pretty cool. Alright, let's get to the summary. The story takes place in Athens, and Theseus is about to get married. Now, if you know your Greek mythology, you've likely heard the name Theseus before. Theseus was the guy who slew the Minotaur and did a bunch of other things too. In this story, he's the Duke of Athens. Okay, now, Theseus is getting married to Hippolyta, Queen of the Amazons. There are a lot of legends about how Theseus managed to get an Amazon to be with him, but the one that Shakespeare is going off of is that Hippolyta and Theseus didn't really want the Athenians and the Amazons to fight each other anymore, so Hippolyta made a peace treaty which resulted in Theseus and Hippolyta getting married. Anyways, back to the story. Now, while Theseus and Hippolyta are preparing for their wedding, a man named Aegeus goes to Theseus to complain. You see, Aegeus' daughter Hermia is in love with a man named Lysander. Aegeus does not approve of Lysander and wants Hermia to marry a man named Demetrius. According to Athenian law, Hermia must marry Demetrius and obey her father's wishes, or she will die. Theseus does offer an alternative to death in which Hermia can just live out the remainder of her days worshipping the goddess Diana, who is the goddess of eternal maidenhood. Now, Hermia doesn't much like the idea of death or remaining single for the rest of her life, so she and Lysander plan to run away and get married outside of Athens. They tell Hermia's good friend Helena about this, and they leave. Now, Helena is in love with Demetrius, and they used to be together for a while, until Demetrius saw Hermia. Helena has been wanting him back ever since then. Now, Helena thinks of a plan that she really should have thought through. Helena tells Demetrius where Lysander and Hermia are going. Now, I don't know what Helena was expecting here. Was she expecting him to just give up on Hermia and go back to being with her? As you probably guessed, that's not what happened. Demetrius follows where Lysander and Hermia have gone in hopes of finding Hermia, and Helena follows Demetrius. Now, as Shakespeare comedies go, there is a side story as well. There's a group of players who are planning to put on a play for Theseus and Hippolyta for their wedding for entertainment. Now, the play they want to put on is the tale of Pyramus and Thisbe, which is about 2 lovers who end up killing themselves. Oh, wait, that sounds familiar. Where have I heard that before? Anyways, the players are arguing amongst themselves about how to do the play justice until they finally come to a decision. Now, if you're wondering why I'm not going into the details of what happened, honestly, it's better to either read it or listen to it for yourself, because Shakespeare has thrown in a large amount of puns in the dialogue, and their interactions are just hilarious. Anyways, moving on. The fairy king Oberon is having some problems with his wife, the fairy queen Titania. Titania is currently taking care of an Indian changeling since the boy's mother was one of her worshippers. Now, Oberon wants this changeling to be one of his soldiers. Now, what is a changeling, you say? Well, back in ye olden days, the legend was that sometimes fairies would steal human babies and replace them with changelings, who look human, but are definitely not human. There's a lot of folklore surrounding changelings and fae and all that stuff. Honestly, it'd be a video all by itself if I went in depth with it, since different parts of Europe believed in different legends. Back to Oberon and Titania. Oberon plans to punish Titania, so he calls on Puck, or Robin Goodfellow, to help him find a particular flower that when applied to the eyes, that person will fall in love with the first living thing they see. And I'm pretty sure this doesn't apply to trees, or this would be a very different story. Puck goes off to find the flower, and Oberon sees Demetrius and Helena out in the middle of the woods. Helena is still begging Demetrius to take her back, but Demetrius does not want to. Now, Oberon tells Puck to use some of the flour on the eyes of Demetrius, but see, here's the problem. Oberon's instructions were vague. He literally just said, put this on the eyes of the Athenian man. Now, Puck didn't see Helena and Demetrius walking by, so he has no idea what they look like. While Puck is out and about looking for an Athenian man, he comes across Lysander and Hermia sleeping in the woods, since they were on their way out of Athens to get married. I think you can see where this is going. Puck mistakes Lysander for Demetrius and puts the love potion flower thing on his eyes. And Helena happens to be walking by, and Lysander falls in love with her due to the effects of the flower. Helena is, of course, very confused and thinks that Lysander is playing a mean trick on her and leaves, and Lysander follows her. Hermia wakes up and is very confused as to Lysander's whereabouts, so she goes out to find him. Now... Now back with the players. The players decide to go out in the middle of the woods to practice their play. Apparently, they decided to practice near Titania's realm. Why they thought that was a good idea when they likely knew fairies roamed these woods is beyond me. Now, one of the players, Nick Bottom, is preparing for his next line. Puck happens to be in the area and thinks, do you know what this guy could really use? A makeover! And then turns Bottom's head into that of a donkey. The players are freaking out because obvious reasons, and Bottom is very, very confused. Meanwhile, Puck over here is laughing his head off. Now, remember how I said they were in Titania's domain? Titania was currently sleeping and had received the love potion, and she sees Bottom. Due to the effects of the potion, she gives him a lot of attention, which leaves Oberon to take the changeling boy with ease. Now, Oberon is out and about in the woods and sees Demetrius talking to Hermia. Now, Hermia thinks Demetrius killed Lysander and wants to know where his body is. Puck comes by to watch the conversation. Oberon is confused as to why Demetrius and Helena are not together. Puck says that he applied the love potion to a different man. Now, Oberon is rightfully frustrated and tells Puck to go get Helena and lead her here. Oberon applies the love potion to Demetrius' eyes while he's asleep. Helena is now in the area with Lysander following behind. Now, I'm pretty sure you can see where this is going. Demetrius wakes up and is very much in love with Helena now. Helena is now even more confused. Now, Lysander and Demetrius are mad at each other because both are now pining for Helena. Hermia is mad at Helena for stealing her man, and Helena is mad at them all, thinking that they're playing a cruel joke on her. Now, they all get separated in the woods trying to kill each other, thanks to Puck leading them astray. Now, the plan is to make them think this was all a dream. All four of them fall asleep, and Oberon applies the love potion to Lysander's eyes a second time, thus reigniting his love for Hermia. I honestly don't know how that works, but magic. Okay? That's how it works. Back with Titania. She's currently asleep with Bottom next to her. Since Oberon had achieved his goal, he applies an antidote to Titania's eyes, and she wakes up feeling very, very ashamed. Puck removes the donkey head curse from Bottom, and the fairies just leave him sleeping in the middle of the woods, thinking all of this to be a dream. Now, Theseus and Hippolyta are out on a morning hunt in the woods and find Hermia, Lysander, Demetrius, and Helena sleeping in the woods. They wake them up and none of them know exactly what happened. Lysander recalls that he and Hermia tried to flee Athens so they could marry, and Demetrius doesn't really know how it happened, but while on his search for Hermia, he fell for Helena. So Theseus decides to overrule Aegeus' demands and declares they all plan for a group wedding. Now, Bottom wakes up extremely confused and heads back to the house of one of the players, and they all get ready to put on the play. The final act of the play is the wedding day, and everyone is watching the play that the players have put on, which is honestly hilarious. And that night, the fairies bless the castle and everyone in it with good fortune. The play ends with Puck appearing and saying, "What you may have just witnessed was just a dream." Now, with the play being so short, there wasn't much to analyze other than the usual. There was the chaos and imbalance, and the play ended up with a happy ending. Of course, this play is a love story, as it ended with 3 marriages. One thing you could talk about in your paper is how lightly fairies take love, since they just apply love potion to eyes willy-nilly. Even Puck was like, "Oh hey, that has to be the Athenian. There couldn't possibly be another Athenian walking through these woods at night. Nope!" Even Oberon took it lightly. He used that love potion to gain another soldier in his ranks. I mean, come on, man. Now, you could also talk about how Shakespeare would take myths and legends and enhance them. I didn't mention this in the summary, but one of the labors of Heracles was to gain Hippolyta's belt, and that either Theseus had gone with Heracles, or Heracles had brought Hippolyta to Theseus. Heracles is mentioned in the play, I think once, maybe twice, I want to say. Honestly, you could write an entire paper about all the references to mythology and ancient legends that Shakespeare references. Back then, there wasn't really a copyright law, and what we now call plagiarism was considered a form of flattery. Because, if you haven't noticed, Shakespeare literally took the story of Pyramus and Thisbe and changed it up to suit his needs and the time period to make Romeo and Juliet. I'm just saying. Overall, this play is fun to read, and it's funny. I'd recommend this play for people ages 13 and up. While the Shakespearean is a little difficult to understand, you can still have fun with it from context clues and some of the jokes and puns made in the play. There are many of them. I'd also recommend seeing this play live if you can. It might help you understand what the heck is going on a little better. Plus, with the voice inflection that you can't get from reading a book, the play will seem more funny to you. Well, that's all I got for you today. I hope you get a chance to either see this play or read it. It's a very fun love story. Happy Valentine's Day, and happy reading!